Hello and welcome to week 2 of our weekly practice tips, where I'll give a 10 to 15 minute music lesson and a practical way to practice the subject. Let's get started. As I told you before, each lesson will start with this slide because it's important to remember that music is made up of notes, and notes are made up of two elements, both pitch and rhythm. Pitch refers to frequencies both high and low. Think of those vertically. Rhythm refers to the chronological order or time or placement of a note. Think of those horizontally, left to right. Now, in order to have a correct note, you need accurate pitch and rhythm. The right pitch in the wrong place is a wrong note, and the wrong pitch in the right place is also a wrong note. You need to have accurate pitch and rhythm to have a correct note. In this week's lesson, we are going to continue talking about time signatures. Last week, we talked about common time, or 4/4, and we also gave time signatures a little bit of a definition to help us understand what they are and what they do. So as a reminder, a time signature is an organizational tool that helps us understand rhythm. It creates a framework that establishes a downbeat, and that downbeat tells us where to put an access or emphasis to create a beat or the start of a measure. It also determines the length of a measure or how many beats are in that measure. As we were talking about 4/4, I mentioned that it is so common that is what we've used to name our rhythmic note values. All right, we talked about this in the sense of money. In one measure, you can have $1, like that's all 100 cents, or you can have two 50-cent pieces or 4 quarters, right? And that applies to music too. The whole note would be our dollar, it's the entire measure. Our half note would be 50-cent pieces, quarter notes, quarters, and then eighth. The money doesn't work with the eighth notes, right? Anyway, this slide gives a visual of what those look like when you're reading music, which the visual isn't necessarily important for the type of music we play on Sunday because we're not reading music notation, but it is important to understand that whole notes are always 4 beats. A half note is always 2 beats. A quarter note is always 1 beat. And then eighth notes would be half, 16th would be a quarter, so on and so forth. As we advance with our time signatures, the length in a whole measure is going to change, but a whole note will always have 4 beats. And that can be a little confusing, but we named it based on our framework of 4/4. And now we just apply that to everything. The time signature we're going to be focusing on today is the time signature of 3/4. 3/4 is most famous for being the waltz time signature. It's very graceful and flowy, super easy to dance to, and it can be felt in either 3 or in 1, which I'll talk about that in just a second. But as a reminder, the top number tells us how many beats are on a measure, and the bottom number tells us what subdivision gets that beat. So in the case of 3/4, the quarter note gets the beat. That's what that 4 is telling us. And the 3 is saying there will be 3 quarter notes in one measure. It'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So every 3 notes, there's going to be emphasis or an accent, and that's going to determine how how the music flows, right? So ba da 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 ba da da da. That's in 3/4. There's kind of this cyclical motion of, right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. If we think of it again as walking down a sidewalk, right? Each line in the sidewalk is our measure or our bar line. And the 3/4 is telling us you get 3 steps in each square. There is no room for a 4th step unless you take smaller steps, right? And that would be subdivisions into eighth notes. But we get 3 beats per every measure, 3 steps for every square. So we know that once the beat is established, it doesn't stop until the song ends. So if I press play on my metronome, it's not going to stop ever, well, until the song ends, right? But you can hear there's an accent every 3 notes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's how we know we're in 3/4. It's where that accent lies. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So from there, how do we make that musical? Oh, well, we change our rhythm. We don't change where our beats are. This is 100 beats per minute in 3/4. But there's different ways, different lengths our notes can take to make this sound more interesting, right? So for this first line, we have a half note and a quarter note. So that would sound like this. 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. The second line are quarter notes, which is just one beat or one note on every beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then you can have eighth notes take up the same amount of space, but twice half the beat, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. So on and so forth. And you can have any combination of those as long as there are only 3 beats in the measure, or 3 steps in the sidewalk, right? So there are 6 eighth notes, which gives us a total of 3 beats, 3 quarter notes, what gives us a total of 3 beats, or a half note and a quarter note, which gives us a total of 3 beats. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Bubba, we've had eighth notes, quarter notes, half notes, but what about whole notes? I know that's what you were thinking. And if you weren't, it is now. See, a whole note is worth how many beats? 4. And in a 3/4 measure, we only have 3 beats in a measure, which means a whole note does not fit. You cannot have a whole note within a measure of 3/4. It just does not fit. So now you're thinking to yourself here, well, what does it take to fill up a whole measure? I want one measure with one note. What note should I use? In that case, you would use what we call a dotted half note. Now let me take a step back here. What is the dot? When you have a note, like on this screen, that's a half note, it is worth 2 beats. Now if I add a dot to that note, it adds half of the note's value to the existing value. So in this case, this note would be worth 3 beats. You have the 2 beats from the half note and 1 beat from the dot. So we go with our metronome here, 1, 1, 1, 1, so on and so forth. That note takes up the whole measure, but is not a whole note, because the whole note refers to 4 beats. We get that from, our common time, right? And here's where it doesn't apply, because this note on screen takes up the whole measure, but is not a whole note. This on screen is worth 3 beats, where a whole note is worth 4 beats. Now, I told you earlier in the video that 3/4 can be felt in either 3 or in 1. And what determines that really is the speed of the song. Now, there's a song we're playing this Sunday. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. That'll be part of your homework. That is in 3/4. And it is 60 beats per minute, which is this speed. We got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That is felt in 3. You feel all 3 of those beats. Now, for, a different song that's not, I don't have a song in mind, but for our purposes today, say there is a measure or a song that is 150 beats per minute in 3/4, which would be this speed. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, so on and so forth. Now, that can be a little hard, especially, let's call it 200 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. At some point, it's just too fast to think of all 3 of the beats in that measure. So we simplify it to 1, where it can feel like this. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so the 2 and 3 are still there. We just let them kind of exist in the subconscious. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, so on and so forth. And that is really determined by the speed of the song. But it is important when we're playing in an ensemble to clarify, hey, we're going to feel this in 3, or we're going to feel this in 1. Because the way you interpret that is going to change the where you put the emphasis on each beat. So how do we practice 3/4? How do we practice this concept? Last week I gave a listening way to practice, and that still applies here. Every song has a time signature. See if you can identify what it is. Try to find a song that is in 3/4. Hint, one of our songs for this Sunday set is in 3/4, so if you don't want to take too long to look, just look at one of those 4 songs and see if you can identify which one is in 3 or as opposed to 4. And again, you'll figure that out by listening to where the emphasis is. There's a pulse, there's an accent on one of every so many notes. In this case, it'd be one in every 3 notes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And once you've identified that it's in 3/4, try to feel it in 3 and in 1 and see what works better in your head. Is it going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, or 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, so on and so forth. Now, when you're applying that to actual music or your instruments, a physical way to practice that is this exercise I have laid out right here. 1s, 3s, 2 3s, 1 2s. So you're going to put on a beat or a metronome. So let me pull up my metronome right here. I'm going to slow it back down to about 100 beats per minute. Ones would just be accent the first beat in the measure. 1, 1, 1. Now you can sing this on laws, you can strum it on your guitar, you can hit it on your snare drum, or just clap or snap. I'll snap for all intents and purposes here. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now 1 3 would sound like this. 1 3 1, 3 1, 3 1. 2 3s, you're going to snap on beat 2 and beat 3. 2 3, 2 3, 2 3, 2 3. And then 1 2s, you would snap or clap or sing or strum or hit on beats 1 and 2. 1 2, 1 2, 1 2, 1 2. And you can try that at a bunch of different tempos. And again, it's just going to help us feel where the beats fit within the measure. Now, if you're playing guitar, I would strum down on beat 1 and then to do 2 upstrokes. And that's because in 3/4, the downbeat is the most important. 1 2 3 1. It has the most emphasis. Even when we feel it in 1, it's even more so, even more important. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. So I'd make sure that has the heaviest weight. You're going to strum down. 1 2 3 1 2 3 down, down. For 2 and 3, I would do upstrokes because they're just a little lighter. There's no accent on that portion of the measure. So 1 3 1, 3 down, down, down. And then for your 2 3 exercise, up, right? Boom, up, 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 up. Then 1 2 would be down, up, down, up, down, up. Now that does apply to every other instrument as well, because when we're in 3/4, the downbeat, beat 1 of the measure, has the weight, has the emphasis. That's what makes it 3/4, makes it different from 4/4, right? So make sure beat 1 always has emphasis, and then beat 2 and beat 3 has a little bit less. Awesome. I hope this helps. I hope you learned something. Give the practice some work and see how it applies for Sunday morning, because one of our 4 songs will be in 3/4. See you on Sunday.